So it gives me great pleasure to bring on Kelvin Tay. He's the HR director of Shing Pharmaceutical Metals, and he graduated in 2003 with business degree from Boston University, majoring in, wow, finance, accounts. But he found HR to be the passion during his stint at BCG, and have since taken on various HR leadership roles, and he himself is an entrepreneur as well. So how cool is that? All right, so he has also served in various MNCs, regional companies, even SMEs, one of which is his own. So the roles involve mainly hiring of key personnel, organizational setup, training, as well as identifying and upgrading of potential talents in the organization. He travels and helps out in charities around the region during his free time. That's so complete, you know, Kelvin. Okay.
Thanks, Eileen. Thanks for your introduction.
Yeah, so today, Kelvin, he's going to talk to us about, do employers prefer candidates to be transparent about their employment gaps, or do we wait for the employers to ask us? So I'll let Kelvin, I'm going to stop share. I'm going to pass the floor to you, Kelvin.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Eileen. I'm going to share the screen from my side. Can everybody hear me? My mic's
a bit off. Oh, very nice. So beautiful. Very clear.
Okay, thanks. Okay, good afternoon to everyone. I'm just going to be sharing today what employers think, actually, from my employer's perspective, what we look at for in terms of the employment gaps of people, you know, because let me get to my let's see, this is the first slide. Can everybody see the share? It's okay. All right, good. Okay, so I'll just update everybody, and I'll just share a little bit about myself. I graduated in 2003. My first job was in BCG in Boston. Boston, yes. Then I was there for 2 years. It was a good experience because the East and the West, and during my time there, we even managed to experience 9/11. We were there, yeah. So after that, right, I think the growth of the economy was not in the US anymore. So I had a chance to transfer to the BCG in Shanghai. So I went over to Shanghai for a couple of years before I joined Lucent for a while. They were building the 4G technology at the time for the Chinese government, so it was good. And then after that, I went to Hong Kong. Vision Empire Entertainment was the regional company, I would say, that supplies to all the theme park and amusement parks in Asia Pac. And then I happened to also go back to Shanghai to join the Grand Shanghai Marina, which is like the yacht club where they cater to the high-end the millionaires, the billionaires in China. So, and after that, right before the COVID session, I was back in Vision Empire Healthcare for Asia Pacific, and then right now I'm in Shing Pharmaceutical. The last two companies are more of the healthcare. Right now we are doing the ART kits and also the oxygenator and stuff like that. Okay, so this is a little bit about myself. Okay, the next thing is we'll get to the main point now. Is do employers want to see a transparent employment gap for when they go for interview? I think this is a very big question, because I think we have a lot of issues, because this thing is two-sided. Some people say it doesn't matter. Some people say it matters. Some people try to hide it, and some people. But anyway, we are going to explore all the common things that in my perspective, my experience, we go through. I think in my lifetime, I at least interview more than 1,000 to 2,000 people. Right? So I think as a professional HR, it's more of first feeling. I think as most people, I think the moment they walk into the room, this person is potential or not, or it's critical or not. Because like what I didn't say, I just want to build on. It's the soft skills that matters, and not really what you know. I think that what you know, you can be You can be taught, you can be learned. So today we're going to touch on these 4 topics. Do employers mentally look out for gaps and frown upon them? What are the common mistakes? What are the concerns? And should candidates be proactive? And this is the four topics we are talking about today. Do you have any? If you have any questions and things, please share in the chat. Okay. So now, Eileen, I'm going to do a poll, right, for this question. Put yourself in the employer's shoes. Would you mind if you have a candidate that has an employment gap and then they didn't sound up to you, or they weren't very honest about it, and then when they found out, would you mind? As an employer, not an employee or candidate for interview.
Okay, do we have any more? If not, we can stop. Do you want me to stop?
Yeah, please stop, and then we'll just get back to the results later, because it shows that for yes, it's 62%, no 15%, unsure 23%. Okay, so keep this score first, and then we will come back to it later on. Okay, all right. So I'll move on just shortly. First of all, I would like to just share with us what the HR or in my experience. I think the first thing I have to say is that humans are just like any other employees. We are all humans. So the first thing to do before you think of anything is that if you were them, what would you feel? I think this is the most basic human touch in everything. Okay? And then second will be the prior experience. Every employer has good and bad experience, just like myself. I'm sure everybody here has good and also bad experience. Employers. So a lot of this are built into our what I call our subconscious or our stereotype. So a lot of times before you step into the room, or even you already have a preconception. This company is big, this company is small, it's good, it's bad. It's an MNC, it's an SME. I think there's a lot of stereotypes, because all these stereotypes are not, they might not be always real, but they exist. And because of that, I think they drive both the employer and employees to a certain kind of behavior, and also even questioning. As I think, if you go to more, you know. And then the lastly, and it's also the most important, is the soft skills. Like what Eileen said, I think humans, what makes humans different is always the soft skills, how we can get our ideas across.
Okay, I'm gonna mute again.
Yes.
Just mute again, then you unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Let me go back to the soft skills. Soft skills are more important than the hard skills.
Oh, that's very strange.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's coming from your side though. Maybe you can unmute again.
Is this okay?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, must be the. Yeah, okay. I touched on the last point of the soft skills. These soft skills are more important than the hard skills, because I think that's what makes us human. Calculations, figures, mathematics, I think the AIs do it much better than us. And I think in the future world ahead, it's going to be even more relevant. Okay. So having said the universal rule first, I'll go to the questions. Do employers mentally look out for gaps and frown not? Honestly, yes. Okay, but there's also a no. So when I say yes, it doesn't mean that if you're out of the workforce, that's it. You're doomed. No, I don't think that's the way things are looked at. I think that when you have a certain gap, right, employers are more interested, as what I did say, in what you did with the gap, or how this gap will enhance your asset or sellability, or even your value. I think this is more of the key. Why I say that is because I have a lot of case study, right? For example, if somebody tells you, oh yeah, I took 2 years out of work. I said, why do you do that? They say, oh, it's because they go for sabbatical. They go for 2 years. They go to if their family is better, they will say, oh, I took 2 years because I need to go to Africa and I want to realize my dream of helping out in the Peace Corps, or I will go to I have a dream. I always want to climb Mount Everest, or my mother's sick, I need to take care of them 2 years. I think there are certain reasons, right, that not only will not put you down, but put you in a very positive light. Okay. But of course, there are also negative things. Is that, oh, I was in prison for 2 years. That's why I have 2 years gap. Or not that being in prison is something wrong, but because I personally feel that prison is nothing wrong because you did something, you pay for it, you come out, you start afresh. Okay, but that's only my perspective. Other people don't always think this way. So my case study is I have people who get out of work because of family, because of illness, because of this there's always a red flag when people say that they cannot find a job. There's always a red flag. Okay, so why is a red flag? Is because it almost never shows what this person can do, but it shows what the person cannot do. So I think that when you're out for too long, it's not the biggest issue, but what you did with the time. I think that if you tell people, you are looking for you have like family issue, you have your own interest. I think that that's a valid issue. But if you tell me that you look for a job for 10 years or 2 years or something, I mean I can't say I can't pass a sentence that says everything is right or wrong. But I think most likely the problem is inward and not outward. Okay, so that is what I would like to share. Also, employers prefer someone who can start right away without a learning curve. But even then, right, it also depends on job. Some jobs need to have that. Like for example, if I'm a stockbroker, I cannot let you come to my company and let you train 3 months so that you know how to trade stocks. You have to come in straight on the dot, right? But at the same time, if you're like creative position, like you work for Disney, like what you work for Universal Studios, they have this creative department. You come in, they will give you orientation that takes a week, and then they show you, this is our culture, this is how Mickey Mouse work. Mickey Mouse have the ears and the nose has to be black, it has to be white. So I think some jobs can get you that learning curve, but a lot of the employers do not prefer that because there's a lot of especially when when the economy or the conditions is very high pace, and there's a high pace, high risk kind of job. So it depends. I will move on to the next slide. Okay. Most importantly, right, whatever your reason is, you must show the soft side, which is a willingness to learn or catch up, or even to commit more than you should. Nobody would say that 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with going to work at 9 and coming up at 5. But if you show the employer that you don't want to learn, or I just want to do whatever it is, then a lot of jobs will be out of your scope. And frankly, if you put someone who's willing to learn and someone who's not willing to learn with everything else exactly the same, most people will put someone who's more willing to learn. Okay. Anyway, like I said, I cannot represent anybody. I cannot represent my company. It's my personal perspective. Okay. The next thing is, let me see, what are the common mistakes? Okay, this is what almost I see every day when I interview. Because why? They would think that, there must be a gap. So they lie about it. Okay, the worst is making up things or lying about it, because as a professional HR, right, and if you work at MNC or bigger company, regional company, it is very, very easy to cross-check. Or just call Eileen and say, hey, Eileen, do you know, Daniel from this is, yeah, I know Daniel, yeah. Was he, how long was he there? Okay, that's it. Just one phone call. I mean, because the HR market is very small, everybody sort of know each other. So if you make up stories or you lie about it, it's very easy to be.
Yeah, I think it's not just one phone call. We even have an active chat group, right?
Yes.
All the HR are inside.
And the market is very small. Not even just Singapore. I think because as much as it sounds very extreme, capable people are never short of work or tasks, because people will look for them. You see, so these people will move around the environment. Like I'm in Disney, after that I go to NBC, or I'm on BCG, I go to McKinsey, and they will always move around in that same circle. So people try not to skip too much. So people try to stay in a job for at least 2 to 3 years to show you are there, but at the same time, you want to upgrade, or if the organization cannot give you what you want, or you cannot have the growth career path that you want, so you skip. But you see, when you try to lie or cover up, right, it's it reflects very badly on your soft side. It means that this person has integrity issues. If you can lie about your ex job, right, what else you cannot lie, right? So I think that lying is one of the most dangerous, but it's also one of the most prevalent, because people think that if I lie and I get away, I get a job, right? But these things will come back and haunt you. They will come back maybe 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or even 10 years. As I can see in the newspapers, right? Even in Singapore, the who's that? From I forgot, it's from India or somewhere. They say they have a fake doctor's degree. They go and they were there, you have a doctor, whatever, and then after that they got found out. They do catch up. So it's better to always tell the truth, because experienced HR can just spot it. It's just like lie detector. We just ask you a question, you even don't have to answer it. The way you respond, we already know. 80%, yep, he's lying. But she's not telling the truth. Oh, she's hiding something. But of course, because we talk to so many people, nobody would expose you. Nobody will say, hey, you're lying. They'll just say, okay, thanks. I will. If there's anything, I'll update you. Right? Nobody will offend anybody, so people will just take a covering sentence to just push it all away. But deep in our heart, we already know this person lying or not. So I advise everybody, please be just honest. Okay. So one of the other question is, a lot of people don't understand it. What's wrong with having an employment gap? I think this is common sense. Everybody knows what this is all about. Because when you're out the workforce too long, you're obsolete. It's not because you see, I'm talking to a class of PMETs. We are not okay. I'm not saying that the menial jobs are lowly and unworthy, but no, because you see, jobs at this level and above requires network, requires constant upgrading. The pace is high. There's a lot of technology. Like if you are using today what software like Photoshop nobody uses now, or last time, CareerTransition. There's a lot of technology things that you need to be always in pace of. Sometimes people say that in the modern world, even standing at the same spot running is also a task. But that's what's happening. If you cannot compete, if you cannot move, then you're behind. So I think this is what everybody knows, employer, employees. But the thing is, you see, sometimes both sides is at the opposite side of the table. The employers want to have someone who can always stay relevant, but employees have a personal life. We need to do something. We want to do something before we get old, or give birth, get married. So there's a lot of there's a gap to bridge in between. So if you have an employment gap, there's nothing wrong with it, but make sure that you highlight it, or even use it to show your integrity and also your character, and most importantly, turn this to your advantage and not think that this is a difference. There's no shame. There's nothing wrong with the employment gap. Okay. The last question should be: should candidates be proactive or wait for employers to request? Okay, I can tell you. This is my own case. Okay, I support a lot of the charities in Singapore, or at least I ask all my companies to support. I remember there's this 1 year we went to, I don't know if you're familiar with Yellow Ribbon Project. I live Yellow Ribbon. So what happened was that normally I don't go. Normally it's the HR manager or the executive they go. But this time, because because this Yellow Ribbon Project, right, is hiring from Cluster D, Cluster C, which is inside Changi Prison. And because I've never been to prison, so I'm curious, and I say, hey, you know what? Why don't I tag along?
Yeah.
I will go along with you. I say, hey, Roy, I'll tag along with you, and I will just go inside there, and you do your interview. I'll just sit beside you and go through it. So this is one of my cases. So what happened was that I saw this person, this man. I look at the resume. I was very confused, because you know why? The man's resume, the wife is a teacher. Okay, there's one kid. He works in SIA for 4 years. And then he works in SQ for 2 years, and then he's in it for drug offense. So I was very confused. I say, by right, such it doesn't make sense. You see, normally if you have that kind of past, or if you work in a bigger company, or normally you do not get, you don't end up here. It's not that, you don't know. So when I when I talk to him, I say, sir, you have a very beautiful resume. You work in this, you have good results, and why are you here? Because I'm just tagging along with Roy. So I just say out casually. So this man cried on the spot. He told me, he said, sir, I said, sir, I also don't want to be here. He cried on the spot to me. He said, oh, you know why? Because his friend asked him to go to his house, and then he was at his house, and his friend said, there's some marijuana. Why don't you just smoke some? Then he doesn't want. But then he said, oh, you know what? Why don't I just try? So he just smoked a puff. So the moment he smoked the puff, the police came. So he said that he didn't even have time, right, to say goodbye to his kids and to his wife. So he was inside for 2 years because he just had a puff. So you see, sometimes, right, these things are, and then I was very, how to say, I was very affected because I think that for a man to cry, it's not very easy, you see, because especially for Asian men, you have a lot of ego, you have a lot of pride to be able to cry on the spot. It shows that you are really remorseful. Sometimes you don't have to tell, because I believe communication is seeing things that people don't say, or listening to things.
Body language says more.
So of course he was employed, and he proved to be one of the best warehouse person we had. Really, he would.
Congratulations.
Yes, but you see, I would say this is a rare case, because once in a while you get that, and he would be very diligent. He get promoted. He's very good, because why? If his work doesn't finish, right, you don't have to say anything. He will work late. He will come back on Saturday to finish it, and he will not ask anybody. So
his work ethic, right?
So sometimes you see people do make mistakes, like what I said earlier on. If they go to prison, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that at that point in time, someone made a mistake. So if you pay for the mistake and you are remorseful, then I think that as employers, we should give them a chance that we can. Right? Yeah. So that's why I say that when you do that, not only will you show accountability, but you gain respect from whoever you talk to. That's what I tell you earlier on. Okay. This person is an old company. I couldn't. Lawyer as well. He didn't want to join me in my new company. So.
I see. Wow. Yeah. Sometimes it's a moment's folly, right? We are not infallible. So we all are human. We are capable of making mistakes. It's just like gossips, right? The more you deny it, the more it will churn. So it's best that if it is a legitimate mistake, plus this one is like he's more accessory to the crime, or he's not the main mastermind or whatever. It's a white collar crime.
Yeah. So he was very good. That's why I think that, you see, for employers, right, people look out for things that soft skill, because I think hard skills you can learn, you can teach them, they can learn, but soft skills is much harder. Right? They say you need 2 weeks to form a habit. So that's assuming you want to form a habit. That's assuming this person wants. If this person doesn't want to form a habit, then I think it can take a lifetime. But anyway, this is a different topic for the day. Okay, so right now, like you say, when do we be transparent about our employment gaps? I think like what I think I just emphasize on what you say, because I think you said earlier on, full-time, part-time, contractual, internal or external. I think all these conditions are very relevant to whether you should be very transparent or you should just pass it. Because some of this they don't even care, like contractual. Nobody cares if you have a 5-year or 10-year. They just make sure you know what they're doing. But accounts, procurement, HR, they need you to be right in the ball, right? If you come to work today, this afternoon you should be in your role. But for certain things like customer service, sales, they need time to go. So I think it depends on what kind of jobs you are looking at or you're interviewing at to get. And also the type of companies is also very relevant. Like MNCs, they have a very structured recruitment process. You come in, first day you do what, second day you do what, third day you do what. So even then, during your first 2 or 3 days, everybody will be sharing their employment history. So that's why I think that if you're talking about the bigger company, they try not to give people, they try not to have people of the same type mixed together. Like for example, right, we normally get, at least in my experience, when I get like a new sales team, 7 people, right, I have one GM, or I have one sales manager, one assistant, 5 execs. So if I get a team like this, most of the time I will get them in hot off the, what I call hot off the oven. Meaning that they were already working as sales exec or manager or assistant manager in other jobs. And then when they come in straight away, they get in the call. All you need is product knowledge, customer database, and off they go. Something like this. Why is this relevant to the employment gaps? Because you see, if you have gaps in between, if it was me, right, I won't put this person, at least not in this group when doing orientation, because they will share, oh, why are you 3 years? Why am I 1 year? Or why am I off the job? See, so they will compare, and it's not good for the team, because they will start to segregate and all this. But I think that's a different topic, right? Okay, so I think these are the things. These are the things we need to take note of when you decide whether how transparent you want to be with the employment gaps. Okay, some of them don't even care. Part-time, nobody really cares, right? But if it's full-time and it's a long-term job that you really want a career, then it matters a lot, because there's accountability. Okay, we have the poll results already. So I guess
there's actually a question though. I think Chicken actually asked in the chat, what if you have mental illness? Because, do you still share that with the interviewer proactively then?
Okay. I'd like to share with you another thing based on this question. We also hire people from the disabled society. Okay. So what happened is that mental illness is an illness. There's a lot of people who misunderstand that it's something that's like cannot be cured. It's just like, you have a flu, you have a fever, you fracture the arm. Mental illness is like any illness. It can be cured, it can be controlled. But of course, you need to take medication, you need to be very diligent, you need to work harder or make more effort than the others. So if it's a mental, I think you must tell your employer so that they know how to arrange. Certain positions, they don't, like for us, you see, when we work with the disabled society candidates, right, what we do is that certain people are more, they don't talk so well. So we put them in a position where you don't have to interact with people. Or, so it really depends. Okay. I'm doing the assumption that all HR or all hirers want to hire. Okay.
I know, not all employers think like you do.
Yes.
Which means we need to look for employers like you, very open-minded, willing to take risks, because you come across as someone who is willing to take risks. And I think that's also one of the criteria that we will look for those of us who have extended employment gap. Yeah.
Yes. Like you say, I think you set the tone right when you ask people, right? During your employment gap, what did you do? Was it positive? I think you already said the gap. So you answered actually a lot of questions already.
Oh, that's exactly right. Very, very, very true. There's a specific question asked to you though, from our audience. It says, Kelvin, can you give me some bad example of reasons for leaving that you wouldn't like to hear?
Seriously, can I be really direct?
Okay, don't quote Kelvin. He's just being very open and transparent. Okay, but just don't get him into trouble.
I think it should be fine, because my intention here is to share my experience and help everybody, get the job.
Exactly, that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, to get the jobs you want and to have the life you all deserve. Okay, I think basically work doesn't have to be a chore. It can be something you like. I always tell people, if you don't like this job, don't do it. Because you're gonna bring your long face and miserable attitude to the team, and then everybody knows you hate your job, but you cannot leave your job because you have your commitment. It's always like this, and then you will affect everybody. So I will tell people, rather than you find a job just to pay the bills, right? Why don't you calm down a bit, think properly, what really do you want to do, and then just start with a temp job. If this is what you want, and then go for it, because whatever you like to do, you will do well. I think it's very simple. I said, if you like something, you will do well, right? Because it doesn't seem like a job to you.
Yeah.
Just like you see, Eileen likes, like, he's a very people person. You like HR, you like to talk to people, you like to interact.
Yes, Kelvin knows me.
Yes. It doesn't seem like a job to you, you see. So I also wish everybody would be able to find jobs like this. So when I think it's Christopher Chong, right? I just saw.
Yes, yeah. That's why he asked, yeah.
So
Don't say anything bad about the job, because every job has its good and bad points. So maybe just highlight the good points, even if we have bad points to say. So I think this is the key thing. We don't want anyone to go out there to be a very skilled liar. That's what Kelvin has been saying from the start. Don't lie. So we still tell the truth, but there's a way of telling the truth. So we need to give a balanced, feedback. Balanced feedback meaning there are good side of things, but there's also not so good side of things. So which means the not so good side must also couple with some good side. So I'm sure there's something good about the job that you like. There must be something good, else they wouldn't hire you.
Yes. You see, Eileen, let me try to answer Christopher Chong's question.
Please.
Actually, there is a lot of the time, I have forgotten what people say to me, but what I can remember is the feeling people give me. Okay, the feelings that I have, or the feelings that I don't like to get is when it shows that this person is unreliable, is irresponsible, and is somebody I don't want to be acquainted with. Okay, I can't remember what they say, but I always can remember the feeling I get. You see, like for example, I can tell you, I ever had a driver, right, who starts work in the morning, and then he realized that it's too difficult. So you know what he did? He drove the company van to his house, and then he called his supervisor and tell him, you know what, I'm going to quit. The van is underneath this block. The things are all inside. I don't want to work anymore. And then hang up and block the company number. I have experience like this. You see, so a lot of times we have to take things in our stride because it's not what we want to hear or what to see. But you see, that is the example. That's a bad example I hear. You're irresponsible. You are irresponsible and you create trouble for everybody. Right? There is a good way of living. I always tell people, if you don't like the job, you tell me, you leave. We all live on happy terms, right? If it's difficult, I'll just say, hey, can you work until 2 weeks later or 1 month, and then we get a replacement, and then you leave. I think there's an easy way to do it, and there's also a very difficult way to do it. Okay, we have people, right, who break their letter of appointment. Like for example, you need to give 10 days notice, right? And then this person say, you know what, I refuse to give 10 days notice. I work for 5 days. I refuse to give you 10 days notice. I just leave. Okay, fine. So after the HR will go through the process, right? What happened to the 5 days and all this. So that time was it just happened recently, earlier this year. What happened was that the HR told me, hey, we need to get 5 more days from this person. What should we do? I said, you know what, COVID period, forget it. Because he works 5 days, right? He needs 5 days notice. So I said, you know what, forget it. It's not a lot of money anyway. So I said, forget it. Do you know what happened? This person goes to TADM and requests that he gets his 5 day ago, despite him being the person that breached off contract. You see, we have all the record and all that. So in the end, even TDM advised him don't do it. He does it. Okay, he goes to the MP and all this because he believes he's right. So in the end, we went to court, and the court judgment is what we say. You technically, the company don't have to pay you anything because you already breached the contract. So technically, you should pay the company. See, so there's a lot of things like this that we experience. That is, you need a lot of courage, right, to always continue to have faith in the human race, because you need a lot of things like this. You see, they are the one who breached the contract in the first place, and they still want to get something. You see, like I said,
I think the key takeaway is read your contract properly. Read the fine print. Okay, so okay, wow. I think Kelvin, you have a lot of stories to share. I don't think you should come back. And there are more things in the chat that's mentioned there. If you can respond to them in the chat as well.
I'm sorry, I can't be talking and replying, but
no. I think no. It's all good. Good. Very good. Very good. Good timing. So.